What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode that I have been doing with the most successful members that I got in the SPF Mastermind. With a doozy today, the Oliver Nom. There's even a rule named after him, which we will get to today. But Oliver is in Irvine, California, which is very close to where my best girl grew up, not far from there. And when I went out to visit it, her family got to visit your gym and see all the action. But Oliver's been in the group for a long time now and has seen tremendous progress and tremendous success, both from a business standpoint and from a family standpoint as well. And I'm super excited to have Oliver on today. So Oliver, thanks for coming on.
Oh, I appreciate it. I appreciate the time and the opportunity to talk to you. Thanks.
Awesome, brother. So the most important piece of this, and the gym owners listening to these, I want to be inspired by the stories. And a story is only told from the beginning to the end, right? And so we want to
Yeah.
start with the beginning and start with where you were, your pre-SPF story. Like what was going on in your business? What was going on in your life? Give us all the details
Okay.
and up to the point where you like, I need some help. I gotta get help.
I think I started with like every other trainer, start at a big box gym. Ours was here at Sports Club LA in Irvine.
Mm.
And then
Hmm.
Equinox bought them out. And I was there for like 10 years almost at a
Wow.
big box. Yeah. I was just hustling. It took me like a year and a half to get my book at a good pace. But I was doing eventually at those 10 years, throughout the 10 years, you know, 6, 7, 8 sessions starting at 6 a.m., ending at 2 or 3, just going straight, just hustling, and then I eventually started taking home visits after the big box gym. So after 2 p.m., I'd go 3 o'clock to a home and I'd hit 3 homes before
Mm.
the night ends. So earning some cash, stockpile that, which is great, but I was so tired, just
Yeah.
exhausted. Yeah. So as you can imagine, and you probably did as well, right? So after the big box and home training, I thought, hey, I eventually got the confidence and the guts to take those clients and be a 1099 trainer.
Hmm.
So I rented out some space for 7 years. And in the meantime, I thought I wanted to go into basketball, like strength coach training and basketball.
Mm.
And I got pretty close. Like my dream job was in the NBA. Got some talks with the Clippers for a little bit, but
Nice.
yeah, but those guys are on the road for like 220 days, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
So I knew I wanted a family. So I put that on the back burner. And along with my one on one trainings that I did by myself, I, I became a strength coach for a boys basketball team and a college girls team. So a lot of driving, a lot of sitting in the car,
Yeah.
waiting, taking naps. Like that was my life.
Three
Um,
jobs.
dude, tough, exhausting, tired, driving,
Yeah.
always like wanting to be there on time. So they wouldn't wait for me, but I was tired, bottom
Yeah.
line.
So what was the moment that you had three jobs and you're kind of all over the place that you decided to have a space of your own, which you obviously have now? Like take us through
Mhm.
that kind of transition.
I mean, like when you're renting space, it's cool because you don't have like the overhead. You just pay a flat fee for rent, right? And there's
Hmm.
no like collateral. But the sacrifice is you're just working yourself. And I saw a ceiling. My
Mm.
ceiling was like I was right there. Maybe an extra 20% I can give more or I had left in the day. But the fact that you can see your ceiling is scary. And I
Hmm.
realized that.
What was scary about that?
When you're working those many hours and you don't have time, but you already know that you want a family, you want to get married, you want to have kids, and that takes more time. And then you realize, well, you have to sacrifice money to be with your kids. Like that doesn't make sense to me. And I grew up in a great family, and I knew I wanted to have that. So not having time really scared me,
That's a really
you
good
know?
point. Yeah.
Yeah. And that was
And
huge. That was huge for me.
and how did you start to get some time back? Was it the bringing everything in-house in one spot?
A turning point for me was actually Big Tom.
Really?
Yeah, it was crazy.
Talked to him the other day, actually.
Did you really?
Yeah,
I mean,
he's the
I
man.
was renting. He's like so genuinely kind, and he wants like the good for people.
For those listening that aren't longtime listeners, any longtime listeners know who Big Tom is because he used to be the co-host of this podcast back in the
Yeah,
day.
I remember it.
Big Tom was my very first employee, GFP, 13 years, 18 years ago now, that
Mhm.
he started with us. And obviously he's moved on and he's doing other ventures right now, but he and I are still really good friends. And so tell me, I'm interested to see, what did you learn from Big Tom?
Throughout like podcasts and everything, but I jumped on a call with him when I was still at 1099, and I was hustling and doing, my own marketing, quote unquote marketing, reach outs and billing. He's like, I remember I was sitting in my car. It was like in the afternoon. It was hot because there's a planes going over our studio. So I had to close all the windows so I can hear him. And he's like, dude, you need an admin. I was like, as simple as that, I was like, no way, an admin, like that was my first hire. It's like you need to take all that shit off your books, off your plate. And it took me like 2 weeks to get somebody off of Indeed. And she stayed with me for like 7 years.
Nice.
She was like the one. Her name was Danielle, or is Danielle. She's not working with me anymore, but I was distinctly remember him saying, dude, you need an admin. And it was like, I didn't know how to do that, you
Yeah.
know? But once I had that, I had space to think. I
Mm.
could delegate. I can support her. I was leading her. And that was the breaking point for me toward the positive, that she was relying on me. So I knew I had to step up.
This is one of the things I love most about what I do is we bring fresh eyes
Mm,
to a business, and you see that all the time in your CEO mastermind. But to someone like Tom that, has been around the block, right? He saw
yeah.
your business, he heard your complaints, he heard you, and he was like, dude, you need an admin, right? And
So
it's just
simple.
like, and Tom's not like an experienced business coach or anything like that. He's just like, dude, you need some help. Like, and it happens
Yeah.
to be an admin. And it's like so crazy the fact that like how many years later, like that's the one of the biggest shifts was someone seeing something that you didn't see.
Yeah. Like too close. I like the analogy of a bottle, like a Coke
Uh-huh.
bottle. It's like you're too close to it to see the nutrition facts. You need fresh eyes, like you said. You need to pull away from all the
Yeah.
chaos to see what your business truly needs to progress. And that was kind of cool. That was like leadership, my first step into leadership and
Mm.
business, and kind of like the confidence. He gave me the confidence that I can actually do that and hire somebody, which was really which was really cool.
Well, I am not going to tell him any of this. I don't want to give, I'm not, I don't want to give him any credit at all.
I was gonna
Because
ask his
because
address. I was gonna write him a
he's a
letter.
big a-hole. He was a, the nickname for Tom is he's a born asshole. That's Tom's big nickname. So, but I want to, before we kind of move it, because you're kind of moving into some of the things that you did, right,
Yeah,
to get out of the spot. But I want to shine the light on like, the place that you were in. Is this all before kids that we're talking about?
yeah,
All
all
before
before
kids.
kids.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Right. And so it doesn't sound like it sounds like you were making money, right? From a financial standpoint, because you're an independent personal trainer, but the thing you didn't have was freedom, right?
Absolutely. I think that was the biggest thing that you and I were talking about when I first started, because I was just doing one-on-ones. I was stacking cash.
Hmm.
And as I look back at it now, it was great because, I was stacking, I was able to purchase a home, like just for my life. But there came sacrifices. but the sacrifice now was just not worth it. I would not be able to do that anymore.
Right. Right.
Right. Um, so yes, to answer your question, I was making cash, but it just wasn't worth it for me
Right.
now.
Right.
Mhm.
So what was the moment that you decided you were going to get help with your business? Like what was was there some like can you think back to when you very first joined the group of like what
Yeah.
was the big reason why you're like I got to get help here?
I think it was an accumulation of things. So personally and physically, like my lower back would always go out.
Mm.
Like, I would just like literally urgent care, using a walker, unable to move.
A
Like,
walker?
oh yeah, like I was out.
Wow, I would
Um,
have made so much fun of you if I saw that. Holy
no,
shit.
yeah,
I
it's
can't.
like
I'm gonna like come to the next mastermind with a walker and make fun of you for this.
yeah, I every time I look at a walker or like a wheelchair, I get like that visceral feeling,
Oh no.
because it goes back to it. And it would always be in the fourth quarter of the year. I don't know why, but I knew like if I was injured, I wouldn't be able to make money. You know what I mean? So
Mm.
that was always scary to me. Being hurt, not able to make money and not being able to pay bills.
Do you think that your back hurt from stress? Like why do you think your back hurt?
Ultimately, yeah. I
What
think
what were you like what was the big thing that was like what was driving all the stress?
I think it was just I mean, initially it was like a disc bulge from like injuries, right? Like
Right.
basketball and wrestling, right? But
Wait,
the
you wrestled
stress, oh yeah, I wrestled in high school. That's why
and
I always
bat
go with, what was that?
and basketball? Aren't those in the same season?
Well, I played basketball in college,
You played
right? Just like
basketball in college.
pick up.
Got it,
Yeah.
got it,
And
got it.
that's where it got
So
worse.
you were a
That's
high
why when
school
I,
wrestler. All right, I just got a little more respect for your athletic prowess. High school wrestling is no joke. Okay.
yeah, that's why I always go with Bobby. I just get behind him and do a little grapple.
Nice.
But the back was my big thing. I knew I just wasn't able to do it because I was stressed and I was just constantly working physically, you know? Plus, I had mentors telling me, like, you need to get out of this type of work. And it was just always in my brain and in my mind of, dude, you got to get something going other than one-on-one training if you want to
Like
make
when
it.
you say other work, like getting other in another industry.
I tried in other industries. I tried to purchase import-export businesses. I tried, you know, home installations, certain things. It just never was happy. It never gave me joy. And it always came back to training.
Right.
And then I read your book, honestly. And then I read one of your books.
Oh, is that how you came to us through the book?
It was first a book, and then Tom Plummer introduced me to you.
My man, I love Plumber.
Yeah. Yeah. I was working with him for a little bit too before you.
Yeah, he's great.
Yeah. So,
Okay, so you downloaded the book and then you got to us somehow. So that was the big. So there was just basically you wanted to get help because your situation, although you were making money, wasn't like you could see the future wasn't like going to take you probably where you wanted to be,
yeah.
and you got help to find a new direction, I guess. Huh?
Yeah. I needed a new direction. And scary point is like I didn't know what to do. And your books were good because it gave me a map out of what the possibilities were, whether it was money or just kind of like where your life was. But the money obviously spoke to me,
Yeah,
um, because, as we all know, money equals freedom for most of us.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
So you get going. What are the things that you start to do? This is where like I did these with both Marty's, and they started to share some specific things that happened. You already shared one of them, right? One of them was hiring the admin, right?
yeah,
But if you can pinpoint and think back to the time where all of a sudden things start clicking for you, and you're just like, okay, like maybe I don't need to go into another industry. Maybe I am going to make this work. Like what, give me some highlights, some like ESPN highlights of some of the things that you did, whether it could be specific marketing things, it could be specific hires. Like, what were the things that you did to all of a sudden realize this thing's going in the right direction?
Yeah. Like we said, the first hire as an admin was number one.
Yeah,
Uh,
that I told you to do, right?
yeah, kind of not really.
You know
The
what?
second thing,
You know what probably happened with that? He was probably on the phone with you, and I was like, "Tell him to hire an admin," and Tom was like, "Hire an admin." That's probably what happened.
I'll, I highly doubt that, but for this podcast, we'll say yes. Um, After the hire, another highlight was just betting on myself and
Mm,
getting the studio.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah. Okay, so that's huge,
it's
huge.
right, and we did it during COVID, like during a shutdown.
I remember.
We went. My first CEO, my first mastermind was in Orlando, 1 month before shutdown.
That's nicknamed as the getting drunk with plumber
Oh, dude, that
meeting.
was yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Do you remember the morning after?
No,
You,
because you guys didn't come. You guys didn't
I
show
was
up.
I was there and I was on the table and you came up behind me and you put your hand on my shoulders like had a fun night, didn't you? I was like, oh, it was like my first time meeting you. I was like, oh man, that's so bad.
That's funny. So yeah,
But we got home.
got your own
Yeah.
spot. Yeah.
Got my own spot.
What month is this? So COVID was March, obviously it started in March. What month did you get the spot?
July. Signed
Dude,
the lease in
that's
July.
that's balls.
Yeah.
That's
A
balls
lot.
right there.
Because prior to COVID, months before, I bought the business that was in this place. I bought the
Mhm.
lease basically. And they were like, are you going to do it or not? Because we're going to pull out. I was like, you know, I was unsure, but we got it. And then we had this place. And one thing that really boosted my business, what were the emails? Like I
Mm.
committed to the emails. I did 5 emails a week. It was some were good, some were bad, but the story that always sticks with me is you have what you say is you have an auditorium full of people, and shame on you if you're not talking to them. Shame on you for not helping them or inspiring them. And so I used that, and I committed a whole year to writing. Some people like, dude, you write too much. Some people like, stop it. Some people like, great email, But that kicked my business into overdrive, and it gave me that confidence. It's like, okay, there's something here. Stay with this. And then I started going off of your marketing glove and just honing that in, figuring that out for sure.
What were the fingers on your glove? Obviously, you just mentioned email.
Hmm.
What were the other ways? It's funny too, because Marty mentioned this in his podcast
Oh, did it?
about the marketing glove. What were some of the other things that you were doing? Because marketing is it's such a problem for everybody.
Yeah.
Like it's like so many gym owners just like they just don't know what to do.
Yeah.
So what were some of the things you did?
Identifying the joint ventures.
Hmm.
Obviously, like referrals for trainers. Like if you're a good trainer, you're going to get referrals, right? And I got referrals. That was not a problem. The emails came second, and then identifying joint ventures and knowing how to ask for referrals or doing things where you give first, reciprocity, right? Learning how to do that was really pivotal as well, right after the emails, because I was top of mind with those people, everyday emails. And then I would go visit them, help them, do workshops with them. And it just gave me a consistent flow as I opened up throughout the months.
So we got hiring an admin,
Huh?
big move, first hire, right?
For sure.
We got having the cojones to sign a lease in the middle of a pandemic.
Yeah,
We got starting to do some more marketing where you're, getting into the regular emails and, you know, finding like building a marketing system, right? Like doing things, not just like throwing shit against the wall, but
for
actually
sure.
creating a process and system. Talk about your team. Like talk about like, because I know you got a really good squad. I was there at your gym. you have some real dedicated people that have been with you a long time. Like, tell me about your team and, maybe some of those key hires that you made.
Yeah. You were here maybe a couple years ago, maybe 3 years ago, four
Yeah, I
years
think
ago.
yeah, maybe three or four. Yeah.
You met Sean. He's still here.
Yep.
He's still here. He's been 4+ years. I got 5 trainers in total. And being able to lead them is huge. Like leading a meeting, giving them KRAs and being able to talk to them, not at them, but with them was huge for me as I growing because I'm not on the floor all the time, right?
Right.
And I think if I think about it now with my team, I think it kind of connects to like honestly like your Wednesday calls. Do you remember a lady named Erin Morrigan?
Yeah.
I remember a call with her and she was saying something and she's like, I used to train like, 30 hours a week, but now I'm training 10 hours a week. And when I listened to that as a young trainer with you, I was like, that's impossible. So now that I'm there, I'm like training 5 to 8 hours a week. It's kind of like, oh, what do I do with my time? It's like, I got to lead the team. I got to get better at marketing and sales. And just being able to do that consistently, it just, I mean, best word is just confidence in myself and just betting on myself and knowing like I can throw out offers and be okay with it if it doesn't hit, but throwing out another offer to shake the tree a little bit and bringing in like 1,500 or 2K real quick. It's like
Yeah.
those small wins
Well,
start to add up.
you did tell me you had a send the bill to the what's what we call the deck principle, and
Deck.
here's the deck principle.
Yeah.
The deck principle is a few years ago when we moved into our new house, everything was in pretty good condition except the deck, and we knew it was going to get rotted soon. And finally, Vanessa came up to me. She's like, "Honey, the deck's rotted. We got to get a new deck," and it was 25K. And the
Yeah.
story legend goes that I created a seminar and I put a price tag of $1,000 per ticket and sold 25 spots and took all the money and gave it to my wonderful wife Vanessa and bought the deck with the proceeds from that seminar. And it is kind of funny that I do that stuff to you guys as I take your money and then teach it to you at the same time. But then it comes back to you, right? As you get to do stuff like what
Yeah.
you're about to tell me. Tell me your story of, I believe it's a water softener, right?
A water softener,
Tell me about the water softener.
So we are in a meeting and we are talking about the deck and everything. You're like, you just have to keep it simple. How much money do you need? Break it down. Don't eat the whole thing. Break it down into, was it like big transactions or small transactions? Figure out which one you want to do. And, like as trainers or owners, we have all these grand ideas of what to sell and like, this and that. So I used your deck principle and we call it a Thrive Elite program, where I kind of take the person, I do one-on-ones, I guide them, I give them worksheets, I help them just nutrition, put them under my wing. It's like 800 bucks. I was like, I need 10 people because it was the $8,000 water softener. And I gave myself, I think it was like 5 months. It's like, okay, just push it out, email, text, start talking about it to specific people. Cause, sniper approach. I want these 5 people because then they'll talk about it, they'll do good in it, and it'll get referrals, you know. And lo and behold, it worked. Got 8K, stocked up. We can use that, and I can buy a water softener now. It took me like 6 months, but it worked. You just have to be focused on it. So
Yeah.
I
Yeah. And I
appreciate
think
the
the
water
and,
softener.
and I think the point is that like I could have bought the deck when it happened, right? You could have
Yeah,
probably bought the water softener when it happened. The point
yeah,
is not, right? Not using your own money and having the creativity to come up with a specific idea to create the money. It stems from a concept from the Beatles that basically they said, we're going to write a song to buy a swimming pool. The
Hmm.
Beatles wanted to buy a swimming pool, and they're like, oh, let's go in and write a song. And they made so much money from one song, they were able to buy a swimming pool with it,
Yeah,
which is absolutely incredible.
it's
So I
pretty
love
fun.
the fact that you have taken that concept that it is, and for me it was always funny. It's like, oh man, I guess I'm doing the right thing of taking these guys' money, but teaching them the concepts as I do it along the way. I learned that from Dan Kennedy because Dan Kennedy did the same thing. He's like, I think when Kennedy he had to get like a huge like oral surgery or something like that or when he bought a new horse that was like 100 grand, he'd be like, "Oh, you guys are paying for it, and I ain't paying for it."
I think it was a horse. I remember a podcast that he was talking about it or
Yeah,
something. I think it was like a horse,
yeah.
but it's cool. Like
His
the
concept
different,
is
yeah,
called send the bill to the herd. I haven't taken on that
built
full,
to
so I'll just call it the deck concept. You've taken a lot of the concepts and you've implemented them into your business. Anything else? Anything else that you can think of? Because I'm going to share with the members of like, all right, you were, you know, barely, I wouldn't say barely making it, but you were like had a business that had just opened during COVID. It was just new,
Mhm.
and today you're in a really good spot. Anything else that you can shine the light on that helped you get to where you are today from a business standpoint?
I was thinking about that, like your questions, and my stuff always goes to how you help us with personal development. Like that's my big thing, because then that clears my head so I can make better business decisions.
Yeah.
I don't know if you want to go that direction or
Yeah.
not.
Yeah. It's whatever's helped you the most is, I think, going to be helpful to everyone else.
Yeah, I think that would be my biggest, I guess, advice or takeaway.
And what about it? Like, give me a specific thing that was helpful.
Four pillars were helpful, like creating the four pillars, like strong mind and body, relationship with my wife, relationship with my kids, and
Oh, okay. You're talking about definition for success.
definition of success.
I
Yeah.
want to explain that. Because that's a
Okay.
really good one. So one of the things
Yeah.
that society has a definition of success, right?
Uh-huh.
And
For sure.
that's not your definition for success. And so I always kind of, I learned this through out of, you know, need, right? Because
Hmm.
my definition of success was a certain level of income or wealth.
For sure.
And when I realized that I was achieving that and I wasn't happy and didn't feel successful, I was like, something's wrong. And I was like, the definition's screwed. And
Mm.
so what I was taught was to create my definition, not because that's what I thought. I thought making money was being successful, right?
For sure.
And it wasn't until I created my pillars of success, which actually I added a fifth pillar recently.
Mm.
Yeah, I added a fifth pillar recently, which is something around my faith, my relationship with God, which
Mm.
I haven't talked about with you guys a lot for multiple reasons, but I did add that into my as a fifth pillar, and I actually did spend some time recently rewriting. The pillars have remained the same.
Yeah.
That. So tell me about, that's why I wanted to explain it to people listening so they understood what you were talking about. So tell me how
I don't
that's
think
been
you are you
helpful.
recording?
Yeah, we're recording.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. But so tell me how that's been helpful for you.
I think very similar to what you're saying is my definition was skewed, right? Like I'm in Orange County. There's a lot of successful people here driving this, making this money, wearing all this clothes and flaunting. I'm definitely I'm definitely not a flaunter. Like there's like that term, walk softly and carry a big stick. Like that's what I try to embody. So my definition was when I was younger, like I got to make this money so I can buy these things, so I can make time for myself. It was just so. vague. It was just, it didn't fill my cup, per se. And so when you started teaching those things, when you started to define success, and I implemented that in my own life, like early in the morning, just think about these things, meditate on how my brain is working, what am I focusing on? It gave me clarity, which is crazy. I'd never felt so much clarity before, which decreased my anxiety. It's like everything that you say, it's like, how does he know this stuff? Right. But I know you study it. I know it's like you're always aware of it. But being able to define what I want in my life and not care what other people think, it just made my family grow and it made my business grow. And initially I thought I wanted my business to grow so I can grow my family, but it was just inverted.
Yeah.
Uh,
No, that makes a
Yeah.
lot of sense. And, like I think I taught this at the last meeting that we had, but clarity is certainty. When you have more clarity, you have more certainty. And when
Hmm.
you have more certainty, you make decisions better,
Yeah.
right? And when you have more certainty, you sell better, right?
Yeah.
Sales is really all about certainty. If you like someone sits across from you and they have a good feeling about you and they're certain, about you that you're going to help take them to the promised land, you're going to make more money at the same time.
Yeah.
So clarity is huge, and you got clarity through defining success.
Yeah. And
Makes
it was, like if I sitting here just thinking about it, I was never a big meditation guy, you know, but I observe a lot. And the people I look up to, like you and like just Plumber and just giving me ideas of what to do, it allowed me to actually plan out what I want and to actually live it and to see it happen. Let me give you an example. Back in the day, two of my mentors would always strength train, swim, and ride the bike. That was their workouts throughout the week. And they were the most successful people I knew. And back then I was like, I just want to swim. Like, I need to get in the pool. Now at 44, I'm swimming like 2 to 3 days a week. I'm lifting 2 days a week. I'm getting on the bike. It's like I'm actually living it because I was able to define what I wanted for my body physically, so my mind can clear. So I mean, it's crazy, but when I get a good like physical body and brain and mindset, then the business grows. It's like I just didn't think that would happen that way.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So I appreciate that guidance.
That's great. Great. Let's talk about the business right now. Like, where are we right now? Tell me about where's the revenue at? Where's the staff at? Where are you at with your time? I know you've done a good job with that, where you have freedom. I know you have kids and you have freedom
Mhm.
you're not a slave to the business by any means right now. So give us a snapshot of what the business is like.
Uh, we've been consistent to hit revenue top line over 50K a month,
Nice.
which is awesome for us. We're hitting consistent 20% margins, I think like 23% margins right now. I never thought that would be possible because when we first started, I was like 1%, 3% margins.
Yeah.
So being able to do that while not being on the floor and just leading the team of 5 trainers, it's I'm kind of like in awe. It's like surreal that it's actually happening. We're looking for a second location right now down south a little bit in Orange County. And so when that happens, I, I'm confident enough in the team to stabilize location one while I help build location two with that facility leader and have all the ops and the documents in place. So that's it's pretty awesome to see that because my goal of 20 locations, like that's what I want to do in California. And the ceiling is just so much higher now because this location is stable, which is great to see.
Yeah. What makes you want to open up all those locations?
I definitely think it's a challenge that I want to do. It's scary At times, I feel like it's unobtainable, but I don't want to just settle. I don't want to settle. And I
Yeah.
like pushing myself now because
Yeah.
it's like that shit's scary to me. And from what I know, from what you've taught, like if it's scary, then you're going the right direction. If you hit your goals, you didn't shoot high enough, and those numbers scare me a little bit.
I'm looking behind you and I see a book.
Uh,
And I know you've written a few books.
yeah,
Tell me
I
about the book writing process for you and
man, I didn't
how
even.
have those helped you grow your company.
So I wrote my first book called Fitness Over 40.
That's the one I see
Uh,
right now.
yeah, right, that one framed right there. That was my first book. I did not think I wrote that during COVID and just before that. Because, like you say, the brain is not made to be a storage unit. So I
Hmm.
just wrote and did the process and committed to just making that happen to have something tangible. And that was an accomplishment just because during COVID, no one really wrote books, the people that I knew. And then my second book was actually similar to the SPF group, you and Hash. I wrote letters for a year to my kids. And
Nice.
so every morning I wrote to them and we got it written out and I gave it to them. I think it was like 2 Christmases ago. And
Amazing. Do you have a
they're not
hard
going to read it.
do you have a hard copy nearby?
I don't. I
Oh,
don't.
I want to see it.
Yeah.
Send me a picture of the book. Did you get a
For
cover
sure.
designed and stuff?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that I
We
tell you,
did
I
that.
did the same project, and it was I've done some pretty cool things in my life, but that was the most rewarding thing I've ever done, like
Yeah.
by a mile.
It's so my oldest, Ella, she's 8 years old. And so we read, right, at night. And she'll randomly bring that book so I can read it to her. And it's pretty amazing to see where I was and how I was thinking and to share that with her. And like if she gets it, cool. But I think like when she gets older, it'll hit her more
Yeah,
as to what it truly means. So that was my second. And then my third one is called From Start to Finish, written specifically for my members because they're showing me the stages of what they go through.
mm.
First stage is just really committing. And then second, trying it themselves. Third is finding that community of people to stay consistent with. And then fourth is being an inspiration, like realizing you're an
How do you
inspiration.
use the Fitness Over 40 book? You wrote it a long time ago. Do you still use it
Mhm.
today?
I give it to, like, when I go to joint ventures,
Okay.
I'll hand those out. I'll give it to all the new members.
So it's like a really impressive business card. That's how I like
It
almost look at a book.
Every time I go somewhere, I don't give a business card. I give them the book with maybe
Yeah,
like a trial offer inside.
beautiful.
Social authority. That first book was all about social authority. I didn't want to
Yeah,
make money. I didn't want to do anything with it. I just knew I wanted to say I have a book. I'm an author.
yeah,
And a lot of them, like you can imagine, they're like, "Damn, you wrote a book." It's
yeah.
like everybody wants to write a book, but do they actually execute? Do you actually do it and commit to it? Very rare do. You know.
That's amazing. This has been great, man. You're doing really good. Really proud of where you're at and the squad that you're building and the team and the vision that you've got and the success you've achieved and all the while being able to be there for your kids and your family at the same time. Like you haven't sacrificed that,
Yeah, I appreciate that.
which I really respect. Last thing is what you would say to a gym owner, that was maybe in the situation when you started, that's considering joining the SPF mastermind. Like, what are you telling them at the bar?
Think if you want to truly excel, like if you want your business to grow, you need to be with like-minded people. I think I forget who says it, but whales swim with whales. If you want to be a business owner with integrity, this is what this is what I really appreciate about the SPL. I tried out other masterminds, like talk to them. Business is fine, business is good, like strategies, but I've truly grown as a person and as a family man and as a businessman. Like, it's for me being a family man first, I'm realizing is like truly so important to me. And I appreciate that you actually teach that through experience and actually teaches that through experience because I mean, at the end of the day, like business is fine, but you got to be a good person, and a kind person. And I think this group really embodies that. Uh, yeah, so you got to execute. You got to take that chance if you want to be really successful in your life. Yeah.
Yeah, that's one of the things I love about business so much is because the business is the vehicle for that.
Mm,
If you have a business that take robs all of your time and doesn't provide any money for you, it's very hard to do it, right?
yeah.
It's really hard to be the family man you want to be, right? And I think that why I'm so passionate about business and teaching business and success principles in business is that it becomes the vehicle. It
Yeah.
as you said, it provides the freedom of time and money. And it's really, really important to me because I don't think people get the life that they want without that freedom.
Yeah.
And so that's what I think both step one is building a business that doesn't fully depend on you. Step one is building a business that pays you. Step one is building a business that has team members that care. Like that, this freedom that you're talking about and the ability to write books and have the time to do that and the ability to be with your kids, like it didn't come until you had the business that allowed that for you.
For sure. For sure.
So very well said. Oliver, anything you want to say on the number one ranked fitness business podcast in the ether
In the ether.
to other gym owners? What is the Oliver Nom pearls of wisdom?
Pearls of wisdom. I think anybody can be gifted, but to be consistent with the fundamentals, I think that's what made me successful in my life. And I look at you and what you do with your podcasts and your emails and just like your constant learning and leadership in business. I think you're very consistent with that. And I can recognize that. And certain people in your group and your leadership team does that too. And so I can I admire that. I'm inspired by that, and I can appreciate, and I really do appreciate your leadership with all this stuff. So you're making me a better man and a family person. So thank you for that. Really do.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate that. Awesome job. This was a great conversation. Learned a lot. And my favorite story in this whole thing was the water heater, water softener thing. I love that.
Yeah. Yeah, man.
But very cool. Keep up the good work. I just saw you in the past meeting a couple weeks ago and got our next CEO meeting coming up here in January.
Yes, sir.
So all good stuff, but appreciate you doing this and awesome job.
Thank you, sir.